Hello everyone, I'm Rob Watson. I'm the module leader for TECH3022, Advanced Social Media and Production. And this is a short video to give you an overview of what we'll be covering in the fourth of our lectures. It's about DIY participation and about the idea that how we get involved in creating and producing our own media and communicating among our communities in order to be able to talk about issues and talk about things that are of concern for us, rather than maybe being the subject of pre-cooked, if you like, ideas of what we should be talking about from the mainstream media. So as ever, there'll be a set of notes that are published up on and available from the wiki, and you know by now where the address is for the wiki, so I'm sure I don't need to repeat it: wiki.our.dmu.ac.uk. So the notes will be available as a downloadable PDF, which you can convert to a Word document if you need to adapt it, and as ever they've got the background reader, they've got some links, and they've got some references to the kind of core reading that we should be doing based on this subject. As ever with the PowerPoint presentations, I like to keep these quite visual. I like to use lots of clips and media. So this is, I won't be sharing this with you, but you will get a copy of the notes. The reading for this week is an article that I found. The reading for this week is from Jenkins, Ford and Green, and it is chapter 3 in the book, which is about media engagement and the way in which we, in contemporary society, we engage with different types of media, and how we've moved away from, if you like, the broadcast model, where audiences were thought about as kind of static and almost monolithic, where there was no sense that an audience would be able to choose things for themselves, share things amongst each other. They were pretty much seen as a block. Well, in the new form of media spreadability that Jenkins, Ford and Green describe, media is much more about what makes things spread, what makes things meaningful between people, that you're prepared to share it. So one of the things we'll look at is the idea of kind of DIY media. So the lecture is going to run through some of the concepts about kind of, first of all, a kind of how mainstream media has been thought of as a kind of block, as a kind of what we could use the word is hegemony of the media, kind of media interests, big producers, that kind of thing. But always there's been another side, and it's kind of alternative and DIY media. So looking at things about how people have produced fanzines in the past, people have created their own content. This is way before, the internet and apps and mobile phones and things like that. So people being active in as independent media producers, and not just watching or seeing what's available on the 4 mainstream channels on a Friday or Saturday night. So we want to go through this as a kind of debate and discussion. Concepts like the public sphere will be discussed. Likewise, the kind of ideas based around what community media is and how people form communities around media and with media. So we'll be looking at kind of some broad issues to do with that. There's a video or set of videos that I found which I thought might be useful. They're available on YouTube from a kind of there was a research project at Birmingham University and other places a few years ago, and they put a festival together called the Connected Communities Festival. And I was looking at some of these videos, and there's some things about DIY participation in there, and it might not kind of trigger off a direct point, if you like. It's a bit kind of a background point, but I thought it might be useful. So on the wiki, I've put a link to the YouTube channel that these videos are posted on, and it'd be interesting to see if you can go through some of them beforehand, because they're talking about people using media for themselves, creating and sharing media, if you like, from a kind of grassroots perspective, rather than it being centrally managed and imposed on people. So we've got to, this will fit in well, I think, with some of the things that Jenkins, Ford and Green talk about. And it will also fit in well with the way that we plan the project, the assignment, the coursework assignment that you're going to be working on, which will be to make a YouTube documentary, and a participative YouTube documentary that people, one, are prepared to share, but two, maybe get involved in helping to produce as well. So we're going to use all the social media techniques that we can in order to be able to encourage people to participate. So what are the key issues that are based, that people need to feel that they have a stake in, no pun intended, when they're discussing their relationship with food and sugar and processed food, and particularly the angle that we're coming from is the electronic games industry. So those kind of tournaments, that kind of game playing communities, and the way that big manufacturing global corporations are trying to target their products at those communities and those people involved in those that culture. So as ever, bring your notes, bring your documents, your notebooks and your pens, and yeah, have a great time.